So the album starts out with a song called All Downhill From Here that I wrote with Christopher Thorne from Blind Melon. Christopher and I have known one another for probably going on 30 years now. And he kind of comes from, a strange world like Candlebox. I mean, his singer died in the middle of a tour. Blind Melon was, kind of this super hyped band, and there was a lot of attention on them, and Shannon passed, and then the picture just faded for them. And Candlebox has been around going on 30 years, and we had that major spotlight on us as well, and that's kind of faded. So when he wrote the song, we kind of just talked about, I think, our careers and where we were and what we were dealing with, and I was like, man, we should really make this kind of an autobiographical track. So we did. I read him some of the lyrics that I was writing down as I was listening to the track, and he's like, I love that. Let's kind of go that direction. Why don't you just tell the story of being a 50-year-old guy, in a rock and roll band that's literally now more than half my life I've been in. I think at the time when we wrote this, it would have been 26 years of Candlebox. So, there's that kind of peak that you hit as an artist, and you don't always stay there. You don't sustain it, but the saying "all downhill from here" is, we made it, so this is the easy part, So that's kind of the concept behind the song. I mean, there's some funny words in there and some funny statements, but really it's autobiographical. It's kind of about my life now and then, and where it's going, and where this maybe will lead me in another 2 years, 5 years. I don't know how long. I keep saying I'm going to quit, but
where do you want it to go?
I've often said that when I hit 55, that's going to be it for me. I don't want to be these one of these rock stars that's out there at the age of 60 and 65 years old still trying to make a buck doing this. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. I miss my family. I miss my wife and my son. So I would like to end on a really great note and have a record that we made do really well and have great success with it, but most likely it's going to be another record that sells 20,000, 25,000 copies, and that's about it. So I mean, that makes it hard to continue doing this because you don't make any money off of that, and I can't, got a tour for 6 or 7 months out of the year. It's exhausting. The second song is Let Me Down Easy. That song was written with Peter Cornell. The majority of this record was collaborations, not only with outside writers but also with the guys in the band. So it's the first time that I've ever collaborated individually with players rather than the full band. But
what was that experience like?
It was great. I mean, each musician in the band is so integral to what it is that we do, but they're so individual in their songwriting and their musical styles and musical prowess. So guys like Island, who are magicians when it comes to songwriting and nuances and chords and keys and structures, and I mean he's kind of a mathematician when it comes to music, whereas Brian is guttural. Adam is guttural. I'm very guttural. When my heart tells me to go somewhere, I go. Whereas Island, probably Adam as well, they're a little more heady about it. So it makes for an interesting album. Songs like this Let Me Down Easy I wrote with Peter Cornell, and Pete's Christopher's older brother, and has been in music I think probably going on close to 55 years. I think he probably started playing guitar when he was 3 or 4 years old, but a really, really talented guy. And we had connected back in Seattle in 2018 and talked about doing a song together. And this is the song he sent me, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I wanted something that was really bluesy and raw, and I love classic blues. I love Robert Johnson. I love Muddy Waters. I really love just how loose and free those musicians were in what they wrote about and what they sung about and how they played. So Peter gave me this track. It's kind of like he and I are sitting on a tree stump at the crossroads with Robert Johnson talking about music and where we want it to take us. And the concept behind it is it's really a song about redemption. It's got the bridge section that says, I want to make it, don't you let me down, no. But that's, because we're all sinners, and I think that we all come to that point in our lives where we feel like, we ask for forgiveness for everything we've done, whether it's, that we have, something tragic happen to us in a car accident or end up in the hospital with something or whatever. You find yourself asking for redemption, asking for forgiveness for all these awful things we've done, because we're humans, right? And we just constantly sin. So, and we do evil things to one another. So this song's about redemption and really kind of being at that point in your life where I don't want to just kind of go out the hard way. I'd like to just kind of go to sleep, sort of thing. If that's the way I'm gonna end in my life, it's gonna be over. I'd rather just fall asleep and not wake up. But that's probably not gonna be the case for me. I'm certain I got a lot of things I'm gonna have to answer for. The third song on this record is Riptide, which is a ballad. Was written by this kid named Keith Longo. Really talented musician, young rock star that had a band that was signed, and then nothing happened. Like so many bands that got signed in the early 2000s or like around 2008, 2009, 2010. A lot of them just weren't able to ever put those records out and or have any type of career. So Keith's doing the songwriters thing, and he sent some stuff to my manager, and I fell in love with this track. His version was really poppy. It was I loved it. It sounded kind of like something Justin Bieber would do, or one of those kind of young pop stars. But I said to him, I was like, listen, I need to make this a little more my style, and I hope you're okay with that. And he was like, yeah, man, just do your thing. So we sat down and knocked it out on acoustic, and I played it for the band, and that's where the song really took off. We added the strings and the piano. I mean, it's a very dramatic song. I love the concept behind it of being caught in a riptide and having somebody there to save you. I'm assuming in Keith's case, it was probably a girlfriend or something. For me, it would have been my wife, who's pulled me out of several downward spirals mentally, and musically, where I feel as though that I just don't want to do this anymore, and I don't feel sometimes that it's really worth it. So it's a good thing we have those kind of people in our lives that will help us through that. The next song is a song called Sunshine, which I wrote. We were in Cleveland. We were playing at it's South Cleveland, I think it is. This Hard Rock Casino we do shows at, which is really great. Got a great sounding stage, and I just started kind of strumming on it during sound check and worked my way through it, and Robin started playing the drums to it, and it felt like a song immediately, which I don't know if people understand that. Maybe I should explain that, but sometimes you'll work through something, and you'll work and you'll work and you'll work, and it never feels like a song. It feels like parts, or it feels like it's trying to be a song, or it's trying to go somewhere, but there's something that's keeping it from opening itself up to you. And as a musician, there's all these songs floating around, and you just kind of grab them and you can turn them into things if you're allowing yourself to be in tune with that. This song just kind of gave itself to me instantaneously and was very easy to work through. I had forgotten about the song, and then we were getting ready to do pre-production, and I was like, I have that one song, and I sat out in my back house, my guest house at my home in LA, and and I knocked the song out, and I came in pre-production. I said, hey, this is that song that I was working on a couple years ago, and that was it. It's really about the light and dark of life. It's inspired by my wife. The part about the sunshine and what did I say? Tangled hair, no shoes, because she's Australian, and she has to be in the water. We have to go to the beach at least once a week, and so she reminds me of that beauty of the ocean and the sunshine element of it, and what we get out of that vitamin D, and that whatever 2-3 hours we go to the ocean and allow ourselves to kind of get lost in that moment. And then there's the night time, which is the second verse of the song, which is the darkness that is humanity, I think, and it's the darkness in me, I'm sure, which is the side that makes me feel sometimes like maybe I'm not doing the right thing. I'm not supposed to be a musician, or I'm not supposed to be in the world, or living in the world I'm living in. It's
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, because you feel like sometimes, I don't know, man. I've never had another musician say this to me, but sometimes I feel like I am an imposter in this band, in this realm of music. I don't know. I'm one of the lucky ones. Like, I have so many friends that had bands that didn't have the success of this. So. Yeah, that's kind of what that song's about, I think the interpretation of it is going to be interesting as to how people take it. But for me, it's just really kind of, again, semi-autobiographical. It's about that yin and yang of my life, the sunshine and the darkness of it. And I love both of them. I mean, even with the imposter syndrome, I still feel like I'm lucky enough to be here. So I won't quit altogether, not right now, anyways. But eventually, I'll shut the door on this thing. But so that's what that song's about. The next song on the record is "My Weakness," which was written by my buddy Don Miggs for me. He lives in this wheelhouse musically, this kind of Americana pop that I love, that I can't write. I'm not capable of it. I don't have that ability to write songs like that. And he gave me this track that I just love, and I love singing it. It's just kind of a reflection upon our relationships, I think, with our wives. Don's very, very close to his wife. I'm very close to my wife. And I think it was, again, an easy song for him to write and an easy song for me to write, because he and I are great friends, and he understands where I'm coming from musically, and what I love about music. And he knew that I wanted kind of one of those Bryan Adams great 80s anthems. It's a summertime song. It feels like a summertime song. And it's called "My Weakness," and I absolutely love it. And I think a lot of people that have heard it so far really love it as well, so that makes me happy. But that's, again, about relationships, and I'll leave that open to interpretation for people who have relationships that they like or don't like. Just sure they can figure that out. The next song is "We." "We" is a song that Island and I started working on during sound checks. We wrote it around the drum beat of the song, which is one thing I love doing. I really love working around rhythms. I think it makes, because I was a drummer, it makes it easier for me to write, and it makes it a lot more fun for me to play to. So we wrote the song together, and then the concept of "we" came from the fact that, as a society, I feel we're so disconnected from one another, and we're so lost in just fighting for the smallest space to breathe in, and it just feels really, really scary. It scares the shit out of me where we're at right now in the world and in society, and so I wanted to write a song lyrically that represented that kind of fear. and the chorus, it's interesting. The lyrics of the chorus are, I gotta pull them up here because being lost in it. But bending never made us weak, burning like a line of trees, breaking for the enemy, lying till we just can't see. I mean, all those things are really, people just feel like they have to put up these, barricades around their world because their opinion matters most to them rather than, maybe somebody else's opinion or description or reality. I just think that people don't want to live in reality sometimes. It's much easier to go, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm not going to read that. I don't want to know that.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. So, I'm just a realist. So that's what that song's about. And I think people are really going to like that song a lot. I love it. And then we have Nothing Left to Lose, which is my favorite song on the album just because it was a song that Sean and I wrote. Memphis, Hennessy, who plays with us. And it was inspired kind of like by Lemmy and Motorhead.
It's very Lemmy-esque.
Yeah, I wanted to sing it like that too. It feels like a song that somebody's got nothing left to lose would write. And again, we've seen that. We've seen people do radical shit around the world for I'm 52. I've been seeing it since I was, old enough to watch television. But that kind of I don't give a fuck attitude. I'm going to go do this. This is what I feel like I have to do, and I have nothing left to lose. Which, that really honestly has nothing to do with me. That's just my kind of vision of what's going on in the world. And certainly when you see these, people doing crazy shit in the name of God or whoever their God may be, or based on a political opinion or a political view, or or mental health. I mean, we're seeing an enormous uptick in that. So that's kind of what the song's about: is people who are, I guess, tiptoeing on that beam, that thin line of you're going to hurt yourself or you're going to hurt somebody. So that's what that song's about. Just a punk rock song. The next song is a song called Lost Angeline. I just came up with the name based on because we live in Los Angeles. But my wife, who came over from Australia in 2002. I met her January 4th of 2002. We fell madly in love. She was traveling on a worldwide ticket to Paris to visit her girlfriend, Georgia. And I went over there and spent 12 days in Paris with her and fell more in love. And then I told her, I said, listen, don't go back to Australia, go back to LA and stay with me and we'll get you a visa and you can stay in the States. So the song is autobiographical in the sense of how we met. And then what she did was she left me lyrics to all her favorite songs for every day that she was going to be away from me until I got to Paris, which I thought was really cool. Neil Young, Tom Petty, Joni Mitchell, Linda Ronstadt, the Fleetwood Mac. I mean, just so many different lyrics in there. I mean, that was like, I think it was 32 days or something before I was going to see her again. I mean, that's a lot of songs to handwrite lyrics out. So I talk about that in the song, and Lost Angeline, just because she didn't want to leave Los Angeles. She wanted to stay, but she knew she had to go to Paris. And then when she came back, she went back to Australia because she had to renew her visa in Australia. And she and I had a moment where she was kind of considering not coming back to the States. So that was it was a real eye opener for me. And so yeah, I just was like, I need to write that song. I'd never written that song, so that's again, that's another one that I just sat down with an acoustic and it just made itself available to me. It's a really cool song. It feels Americana. It also has a little bit of a country western rock and roll kind of twang to it, which I'm stoked about. I think people like that song a lot. They may be able to attach themselves to it somehow. I don't know. but maybe. But again, a very personal song for me. Tripp is the next one, which again is about my wife. I wrote this song with Sean in Memphis, Tennessee. My wife, when I met her, just knocked me off my feet, and she still does. I mean, my wife's so inspiring, and she's just, God, she's just my conscience, and she's my air. She's so many things that I require as a man. And she literally just knocked me off my feet when I met her, and I still worship the ground she walks on. I mean, it's kind of weird to me to have this type of love in my life. You know, people who have children understand it. But you know, when you don't really understand it until you really, really fall in love with somebody, how important they are to you. And so that's what this song's about. It's just about being caught up in her and everything she does and everything she gives me. And it's kind of a cool poppy track. It's got a great bridge. I love the bridge. I stole a line from Brian Ferry for that bridge. Your love, the drug, I need to score. But yeah, I mean, she's my wife's spectacular. So that song's about her. The next one is "Don't Count Me Out," DCMO. This is another one I wrote with Christopher Thorne. Not my favorite song. It's a song that I'm sure will grow on me, but it feels sometimes like when I listen to it, I missed my own point, which I think is strange to say. Although I've had people tell me they love the song, so I'm like, okay. I mean,
I always feel like a song is going to land with someone.
Yeah.
If any song is going to resonate with someone.
Yeah, I mean, it's got cool, interesting lyrics too. Like, you know, I don't know. I think people will figure it out. I guess I wish I'd have spent more time working on the melody and the lyric of the song, but I mean, I took my time with it. I even considered re-recording it to get something different out of it. But again, the guys in the band are like, "No, it's cool. What are you talking about? Like, it's a cool song, and your lyrics are what they are. It's open-ended. It's vague. It allows people to, create their own image of what that means. You know, don't count me out is a pretty bold statement. I've always been a big proponent of the underdog, and I mean, it's certainly probably autobiographical in some way. Candlebox had great success with their first album, and our second record was considered pretty much a failure. So, but then here I am 7 albums later, still being able to make music and tour and play for people that still buy my new records. So, it's a bit of that as well. And yeah, I think people will like the song. I have one on every record that I'm like, I have one. Even when we're recording, I'm like, I really shouldn't be doing this song. I don't really like this song. But it happens, I mean, you can't like everything, and I don't think you should like everything you produce. So the last song on the record is a song called Criminals, which, again, is another one that Island and I had worked on for sound checks and stuff. It's written around a drum beat that kind of pushes its way through the song with this kind of big, dirty chorus, and it's about who we are as humans, and how we constantly borrow without asking. For you, like being a photojournalist, I'm sure that your pictures have been printed without people recognizing you for your craft, and that we all do this, and then I could have a little bit of that kind of. I'm a little bit tired of cancel culture going on right now, so could have a bit of that. I mean, I just find it that everybody out there calling somebody on something they've done, you're the last person that should be calling somebody on something that's done. We've all done something, Every single one of us. We're human, man. That's what we do. We steal, we break, we hurt, we fight. I mean, we do all these things, but we are all criminals. That's what we are. Certainly here in the United States. I mean, this isn't our land. This didn't belong to us. Australia is the same thing. Australia did not belong to the Australians. So we started off on the wrong foot, and here we are, all these years later, still doing it. Our government is, notorious for crimes against humanity. I mean, it's a daily thing. So, and we've become numb to it as a society, and that's what the song's about. Is that disassociativeness, if that's the word I'm looking for. That might be even too kind of a word. But we've just kind of seemed to be accepting that this is the way of life and that it's okay, and that there's no recourse to our actions. And I think it's a great closer for the album. I love the song. I love playing it. I can't wait to start playing it live and singing it, because it's really cool. I really tried to approach this like how Chino from the Deftones sings. I've always loved them, and I've always loved Chino, and I think he's got such an interesting way of approaching his vocals. I think on this record, every song I tried to approach from a different inspiration or an influence in my life, and so I'm not singing these songs like Kevin would normally sing, and they're not normal Kevin Martin melodies, and they're not normal Kevin Martin lyrics. So I kind of pushed myself a little bit further. I spent time writing these lyrics. I spent 4 months working on the melodies before I sang to these songs, and I really wanted to make sure it was everything that I wanted it to be, rather than something that everybody expected me to do, which I think I've done with the past 3 records, from Love Stories and Other Musings, Disappearing in Airports, and now Wolves. I'm continuing to push myself further as a musician and opening the band up to different worlds musically, and that's what I try to do. And I tried on this record. Yeah, I tried to do it. That's it. That's the 11 tracks of Candlebox Wolves.
When does the record come out?
September 17th. It comes out on Pavement Entertainment, on vinyl and CD and digital and all formats. And yeah, buy it. It's a good record.